If you haven't guessed, we're a married couple.
Well, a married bisexual couple.
Well, a married bisexual couple in an open marriage.
Well, a married bisexual couple in an open marriage who has a podcast called Sex Positive Me that presents workshops and coach people on sex education and relationships. I am a child of Mexican immigrants, raised in a Catholic family, which means we throw a party for any reason. However, we never talked about sex or sexuality. I've always known I'm bisexual, and people assume because of that I am hypersexual due to repressed upbringing. But that was never the case.
While I was raised in a New York Italian Catholic family, the men worked blue collar jobs, played cards, acted macho like the guys from Goodfellas, minus the guns. And the women, well, the women cooked. The women cooked a lot. But conversations about sex and sexuality were non existent. I even went to an all boys Catholic high school, and most of my sex ed occurred in the locker room.
In dating, when my bisexuality came up to a potential male partner, most immediately assumed there was going to be a threesome or I came with a girlfriend. Even in dealing with the mental health industry, finding someone to help me grieve the loss of my daughter's innocence instead of trying to fix my bisexuality was a challenge.
Now, while two girls kissing in a bar is just called a fun Saturday night almost anywhere, two guys kissing in a bar can be a fairly polarizing event, in some places, even dangerous. As a bisexual, I can blend and move between the gay and the straight scenes. But when revealing my bisexuality, I've had people tell me they felt betrayed and tricked.
The truth is, there's a huge taboo around bisexuality, and biphobia does exist. We're often referred to as the silent B in the LGBT community, making it extremely difficult to find others like ourselves.
There are a few myths about being bisexual we'd like to dispel.
First, I've often been told that bisexuality itself is a myth. Even in the LGBT community, we're often not accepted. However, we're actually the largest group in the LGBT community.
I've been told that being bisexual is just a transition stage to being gay, and I just need to come to terms with it and come on out.
I was told I was just being rebellious or looking for attention.
I've been told that because I'm bisexual, I'm more likely to cheat and be promiscuous, and as a result, have a much higher risk of having an STD.
And it's been assumed once I'm in a relationship or married, I somehow magically stop being bisexual and just become gay or straight.
And this lack of acceptance has had its toll. Bisexuals have a higher rate of anxiety and mood disorders, and even a higher rate of suicide than our gay and lesbian counterparts.
In the media, bisexual women are often portrayed as powerful, desirable, sexual, passionate creatures, or mentally unstable, bitchy control freaks, nut jobs. These are the role models we're left with stereotypical portraits of unrealistic fantasies. But they're very hot.
Well, on the other hand, bisexual men are either over sexualized, always flirting with anyone, trying to mount anything that moves, or we're comic relief. Often we're portrayed less masculine, weak, and submissive to our straight counterparts.
And because of this image and belief in toxic masculinity, bisexual men remain the most closeted group in the country. Most won't even tell their closest friends, wives, or partners, and they live with a secret for their entire lives.
Okay, now a little bit about us. In the first 2 weeks of us dating, we were walking in Pottery Barn, you know, the one over on Park Avenue. And I knew I didn't want to be in another relationship where I had to keep secrets. So I stopped her right there and I told her I was bisexual and I needed to know if this is something she could accept. At that moment for me, time slowed and my heart was pounding in my chest.
After a short pause, I smiled, pushed him against the wall behind him, gave him a deep, passionate kiss. 3 months later, we moved in together. 2 years later, we were married. And this year, we celebrate 10 years of being together, and we're still happy.
A few years after that, with my wife's support, I decided to come out publicly.
Now, it wasn't like we wore a sign all the time, but John no longer had to hide his bisexuality if it came up in conversation.
Although overall it was a great and liberating experience, we actually lost friends. And that was kind of sad. Eventually, I started looking for support. I mean, I couldn't be the only man in this situation. But after an extensive search, I found the closest active group for bisexual men was in Atlanta, an 8 hour car ride away. And that just seemed a little too far for me.
We then formed Bisexual Male Living, a discussion group for bisexual men. This has become a safe space for bi men to share their experiences and challenges in life, but also for their partners to help them better understand bisexuality in their relationship.
That was 2 years ago. And today we have a meetup group with over 500 members. But when we actually have an event to meet in person, less than 10 members actually show up.
If that's not proof on how closeted bi men are, I don't know what is. If you want to support us, first, don't dismiss our existence. And if someone tells you they're bi, just accept it. Don't question them. They know who they are.
And if you're part of the LGBT community, don't forget about us. In a lot of ways, we're fighting the same fight you are.
If not harder, because we have two sides, the straight side and the gay side.
And if you're bisexual, whether you're in or out of the closet, remember you have a safe space in Orlando.
We're not alone.
We're not confused.
We're not greedy.
This is not a phase.
This is our authentic self.
I'm John,
I'm Angelique.
and
We're
we're happy
happy
this way.
today.